What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is John and Kevin's Big Stupid Podcast. I'm Kevin.
And I'm John.
And ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest.
Ooh, another special guest?
Special guest.
Wow.
It's a return guest. It's somebody we've had on the show a few times.
Okay. I can't imagine who it could be.
Well, he's coming back to help us out with a little something. See, the thing is that for the past month and a half, we've done chick flicks.
Yeah, we have, and I think we did a very good job reviewing the chick flicks.
Yes, we did. We did
our best. We did our best.
Yes, we reviewed the chick flicks. We talked about them. We talked if we liked them, if we didn't like them, what we liked about it. We interviewed people from the chick flicks that we reviewed. All right. So I wanted to cleanse our palate and get our balls back. All right. So I called up a friend of ours and I said, hey, can you help us get our balls back? And he said, no. He said, I don't have any balls. What are you talking about? But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Nargi.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for segueing from your balls to my name. But thank you very, very much. It's always sweet.
So Nargi,
Pleasure to be here.
Nargi grew up with us. He was always a big movie guy. So now that we want to review a film, we're gonna ask Nargi for a little help, and we said let's do some guy flicks. All right, let's talk about some guy movies. So this one was actually tossed up by Nargi himself, and it's the 1990 vehicle for Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall.
Ooh, boy. This was...
I'm curious to see.
Go ahead.
What are you curious about? You curious?
I'm very curious to see how long we can go and talk about this movie without three of us doing the Arnold impression. I'm very curious to see.
Oh, well, I've already got it planned. So, so hold on. We got before we start ourselves. I had posted it up on the gram.
Oh, I'm sure that totally blew up.
And I said, hey, tell us about, do you remember Total Recall? Did you see the film? Did you like it? And there was Random Picks NJ responded, and he said, a classic like no other. And then he said, stop the reactor.
There it is.
I had to be the first one. But yeah, so he responded, told us. All right, so obviously he liked it. So we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna break it down like we did with the chick flicks. And yeah, so you want me to start it off?
Yeah, go ahead. You start it off. Let's get what you thought first, and then we'll go from there.
All right. So the movie starts off on Mars. Okay.
Of course.
Arnold kept trying to. Arnold is on the planet's surface with a lovely lady.
Oh, we love them lovely ladies.
And he keeps trying to get a little.
Who doesn't?
He keeps trying to get a little physical with her. He's like trying to caress her hand and put his hand on her face, and I don't know. The only problem is they're wearing big ass spacesuits.
Yeah, what are you gonna get done in a spacesuit?
What are you trying to do, Arnie?
Okay. The first thing that I'd like to point out,
he's got big ass gloves and big ass helmet. Who's feeling that? Go ahead, Narge.
Actually think about it. You don't actually think about it. guy's got a very deep, dark sex addiction.
Hold on. Nargi,
Wait, tell me.
Nargi, have you smoked for 40 years of your life?
Are you
No.
on Mars?
Are you on
Like,
Mars right now?
You sound like you're literally on Mars.
He sounded like Kane when he used to have that. He sounded like in South Park, Ned.
We'll edit that out.
Oh,
We'll edit that out. That was bad. Don't worry about that.
Are we?
No, we ain't
Oh, we're not
editing that out.
We're not doing voiceovers. Okay, my bad.
All right, go ahead.
I missed
All right,
the-
so go ahead. You're defending Arnold Schwarzenegger. Go ahead.
No, I'm not defending, but like, did the one thing that like, there's a couple things that stand out, and I try to use logic as best as I can, but the glaring fact is that Arnold has a raging sex addiction through this whole movie.
Dude, the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, first of all, I'm watching and I'm going, this whole thing is just revolving around sex, especially in the beginning. And I'm like, and then I'm watching it and I'm like, it's not just him, it's everywhere. And then I started thinking back and I was like, the 90s were just filled with sex. Like everything was about sex. And even like the tamest films had like raging sex behind it. And I was like, so this is, I'm like reminiscent. I'm like, this is how it was. You know, it was the good old days.
I will say the opening sex scenes with Arnold, like honestly, I think I've seen this movie once before, and I haven't seen it until today.
And that's what
like until today, and then like the opening scene, I'm just like, oh god, it was having a sex scene. It was like I was like, this is fucking Arnold, man. Dude, he was but back in the day, he was like the fucking Predator and fucking Commando and all these other fucking movies, and he's having these tender moments, and I'm just like, oh god. I was like, what am I watching? It was so weird, man. Watching it was right in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, well, first we're gonna talk. He's on Mars.
Oh yeah,
right.
We skipped that part.
He's trying to get some. He's trying to get some ass on Mars, and he's so worried about getting ass, he slips, falls, smashes his face mask open on a rock, and so now the atmosphere of Mars is now seeping into his face, and he's struggling to breathe. And it's not even like, oh, I can't breathe. It's doing something to his body.
It's pulling his eyeballs out of his head.
Start to poke out of his head. No, Nargi, to you.
Is that your second impression of the? Is that your second impression already? No, but like this is the whole thing. Is that like because if like I don't know if you remember this, but like he did Terminator, then he did Terminator, then he did Predator, great movie, and then he does Twins, and then he does Twins, and then the first 3 minutes,
Stop.
Wait, stop. Just stop talking.
Everything you're saying is going. Blah, 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 blah.
It sounds like you have a voice machine on, like you were speaking out of a fucking tracheotomy.
Okay.
Oh, now you're fine.
Go ahead.
So start over.
Start over. Totally start over.
Okay. So like Arnold, he did well. If you remember, it was like Arnold did Predator, then he did Running Man, then he did Red Heat, then he does Twins. So he was like, oh, all right, he's pretty legit. And then in 5 minutes, he's trying to fuck a woman on Mars. And then 2 minutes later, he's trying to fuck Sharon Stone. And I'm like, what happened to Danny DeVito? Like, what is going on right out of the gate? And I'm like, is he convulsing? And then he got turned on by getting convulsed because then Sharon Stone woke him up. And I was like, what?
Yeah. So Sharon Stone wakes him up, and this is before Basic Instinct. Nobody knew who she was. She was just like some blonde bitch.
Same director, by the way.
So much so that I didn't even remember her in the movie for that long. I only remembered her in the beginning. And I was like, this was like, because it's been so long since I've seen this movie. Because when I first watched it, I didn't like it, and so I was like, never gonna watch that fucking movie again. So years go by, I haven't watched it, and like obviously I put two and two together that Sharon Stone was the woman from the movie, but then I was like, oh, but she was like his memory or like some shit, like it was like she wasn't real, she was a hologram, whatever the fuck it was. I didn't realize she was like in this movie like throughout the whole goddamn thing. But anyway, I digress. Getting to the point, much hotter than Basic Instinct. I thought she was hotter here than she was in Basic Instinct, especially in that first scene. Gentlemen.
Yeah, I had no idea that was Sharon Stone, to be honest. Like honestly, I didn't read any credits. I didn't read anything that actors. I only knew Arnold, and that was it. And I was like, who's this guy with the shitty hairline? And I'm like, whatever. Like, I didn't really care. But like,
that's Michael Ironsides, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. But I had no clue that was Sharon Stone. And when you said that, I was like, oh, I swear to God, like no idea, zero idea, because I really didn't care. Go ahead.
Well, the only thing I remember, like, as the kid, as when we were kids, like growing up watching this, I was like, the only thing I remember, there was a 3-titted woman in the movie. I was like,
yes.
Oh, was that Sharon Stone? That's the only thing I remember. But I'm assuming we'll get to that.
Yes, we'll definitely get to that.
But then I remember that, like, Sharon Stone was in it by just sheer default that I knew that she was in it, because they were doing an interview with her and she was like, oh yeah, well, my big break was Total Recall, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So of course that'd be your big break.
So yeah, Sharon Stone hotter than Basic Instinct. All right, they have some chatter. They start to like do it, and then like she's telling him like that he dreamt about some woman on Mars again and whatever, and she gets all pissy with him, and I don't know, and then like they wake up for the day, and he's like having breakfast in front of the wall, and like there's like a wall TV. And like, it's like the Jetsons. Like, I'm waiting for Spacely Sprocket to pop up and be like, Jetson!
And I was just waiting for a window. Like, what the fuck? You could afford a television that gets you fucking looking at a forest, but you don't have a fucking open window? Like,
it's so funny because this is supposed to, apparently it's supposed to be the future because we're on Mars and we've colonized it, and I don't know. But the future meant wall-mounted TVs, and
they were the curved TVs. They weren't even like, dude. They had like the monitors had that curve to it, like the old console TV. It's like they couldn't think past that.
No, that one was flat. It was like a wall. And
the wall. The wall. But I'm talking about like the all right.
And I'm also remembering Back to the Future Part 2. They had the same thing. They had a wall TV that was like also a phone.
I love that this is the most disbelievable thing in the movie right now. Was it a flat television?
We've only gotten to scene 2. Okay. So there's a whole lot more to talk about. So yeah, I was just like, this is what we thought the future was gonna be. And I mean, in a way, it's true. It came true. We do have giant TVs that are
we have FaceTime, and they have that in the movie.
I think the FaceTime thing is the most like somewhat realistic / ridiculous thing that they did in the movie, where it's like we always knew that was going to happen, but we didn't really know how.
Yeah,
I
like,
remember like there was like an old attempt of it, and it never really worked out because you have to have the same phone that person has and shit like that. You know what I mean? But now it's like right on your phone. You know, the FaceTime is like right there, and it's like, and the way they portrayed it in the movie, they had like the boxes, like it was like a box, and if you approach the box, it just so happens that the people you're talking to is
yeah. Oh,
popping right up. You know?
hello.
Like, oh, hey, I told you to kill that person. No, I'm trying. No, you need to come see me right now.
You know what the best part is? All this technology, all this futuristic shit, and they still had phones with cords. I was like, what? I was like, all this, they have touch screen, they have holograms, they have a hologram watch, but they don't have a fucking phone that comes off the wall. It's still like I'm watching this, and like the doctor's office, he's carrying the receiver, and it's attached to the wall. I'm like, what?
See, you jumped the gun because my thing that didn't make sense was the following scene was when he's at the construction site.
Well, I'm getting there too. I'm getting there.
Okay.
So he's like, I want to go to Mars. So did we go to Mars? Let's take a vacation to Mars. And she's like, let's not go to Mars. How about Saturn? Don't you want to see the rings of Saturn? So off he goes to work. He's like, I don't want to go to fucking Saturn. I want to go to Mars. He's like, my little Hispanic bitch is on Mars. I want to go and fucking see around Mars. So he goes to work. And on his way to work, he passes by the skeleton scan. As he's walking,
which I thought was really cool.
Well, at the time, you're like, whoa, that's so cool. And then they did it. And then they did it at like airports and shit, and people lost their fucking minds. They're like, this is so invasive. This is my body. You're exposing my body to the world. And they got rid of that shit real fast. So like, as I'm watching this, I was like, ooh, I was like, this is a little invasive. Like, I remember this happening.
Yeah, it's true.
So Arnold and his fat shit Larry are jackhammering at the job site. First of all, with no hard hat and no goggles on.
Okay, hold up. This is what confuses me. So again, the televisions, the Zoom calls, they have never upgraded construction site equipment.
That is true.
Nothing. This is the other thing. This is the other thing that kills me, is because they cut to Arnold, who's like 300 pounds, it doesn't have an ounce of fat, and he's struggling with the jackhammer. Meanwhile, fucking Joey Tribbiani's dad is fucking Larry. Doing it with no problem, is doing no problem with it. And he's just like, I'm like, really? I was like, that guy has no problem doing the jackhammer, which is it's still 90s. I just don't get how they did not upgrade the construction site. Never mind. I'm just going to go on.
So he's like, he's like, you're
so right though.
I want to do recall. I want to go to recall. And he's like, don't do that, pal. Don't fuck with your brain, pal. And he's like, okay, I won't fuck with my brain. Next scene, he's fucking with his brain.
He's like, fuck this, I'm going.
He's like, think I'm listening to you? Look at you, you're fat shit. You think I'm listening to you, Larry? Go fuck yourself, Larry.
I mean, when everyone is just like, yeah, you shouldn't really go to recall. You really shouldn't go to recall. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to go to recall.
Still sounds like a good idea. I think I'm going to do the entire show like this.
He's like, I really want to go to Mars. I just want to go to Mars. But
here's the thing. But Kevin, before he goes to recall, he's on the train. And this is the thing that I remembered, is he gets the idea when he sees the commercial. And I'm like, that's the worst CGI commercial I've ever seen. And you fucking dedicated like you have a television that's in the apartments that shows crystal clear fucking forests, and you can't get a better butterfly to fly out of the guy's hand.
Butterfly.
I was like, okay. I was like, all right.
So now Arnold goes into recall, and the guy is like trying to sell him on all these different memories that they could like implant in him. And it's so funny because I love the Arnold soundboards with all his different quotes and sayings and shit. And he comes out with this one, and it was just like a light went off in my head, because he's like, we can do blah, blah, blah. And Arnold goes, come on, don't bullshit me. And I was like, oh!
Here's the other thing I want to bring up. This is the other part that throws me off is how much money do construction workers make? Because she's a stay-at-home fucking
like
wife. That like, and she's like, let's go to Saturn. He's like, yeah, I'll think about it. And then she's like, she's just playing tennis at home. Meanwhile, he's just like, oh, for like $2,000, I can give you a vacation. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And fucking gives the money over on a fucking whim.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much does construction makers work?
Like, not for nothing, you don't call the wife and say, hey, I'm gonna be dropping about $3,000.
I thought that too.
So if you see that it's not in our savings account,
I'm going on vacation without you because I want to go to Mars and fuck you.
hey, remember that bitch I just dreamt about? Well, I'm going to Mars with her.
Exactly what it was. That would not fly in my fucking house or anybody's house.
Oh. Again, I like to point out that Arnold, once again, my sex theory with him is that he gets there, and what is his top 3 choices? Yes, I want for voluptuous, athletic, and sleazy.
Yeah.
It's like, those were your options? Those are what you picked? You literally just had a wife that woke you up from a nightmare, and to calm you down, fucked you right after a nightmare, and you turn around and go, you know what? I need something sluttier.
I need more.
But that's and here's the thing too, talking about like what the film industry was like. First question, I'm gonna need to ask you a few questions. Sexual orientation? They're like, okay. And then they're like, what kind of a woman would you like? Like, wait, what? He's going to Mars. What are we talking about? Is he even going to be human?
My
Yeah,
God.
he wasn't going for a sexcapade. He legit wanted to go to Mars. He didn't
I
want to go
know.
to,
I
he
know,
didn't want to
but
go
what
to,
I'm saying is 90s film society is telling you have to have sex. So what is your sexual orientation and what type of woman
This
do you
was
want to fuck?
totally. Yeah, this was totally before Me Too movement. I'm just saying that right now.
Oh, well, I'm getting to that next. Because they try to put him under and he starts flipping out. The not, I guess she's not a nurse, but like whatever the administrator,
Doctor.
yeah, whatever. She's trying to put him under, and she calls the main guy, and she's like, we're having a problem with this fucking guy. He's flipping the fuck out. So he comes running in, and Arnold's there. And they're trying to restrain him.
The other thing that throws me off is the operating room is like 3 feet away from the main fucking office, and they didn't hear the screaming. There was no commute. And then the woman left and didn't see a 300-pound gorilla man sitting there strapped to a chair. And it was like,
she's like, peace out.
Who constructed the office?
So then the main guy comes in and he's like, you didn't restrain him, you fucking dumb bitch. And I was like, whoa.
He said,
I was like, wait. I was like, here's awkward moment number 1 out of the Me Too movement. I was like, we can't say that shit no more.
Well,
mean,
and also like
you can
that's the
think it
thing
pretty
is
loud.
that's a simple mess up. That is a simple mess up that she's like was not expecting. He immediately goes straight to calling her a fucking bitch, and I'm like, damn, that's a
And-
hostile working environment.
And it wasn't even like she did what he said. Like she followed all the fucking protocols. He just lost his goddamn mind because something was fucking up with him. So he just jumps to you dumb bitch. And I was like, ooh. I mean, like, I call John that, but to call a woman that,
That hit me too. I was like, whoa, you can't say that no more. You know, that's the only thing I said. Like when I watched it, I'm like, I can't say that.
But did you also notice how like she just doesn't react to being called that? So it's like this is a frequent occurrence
yeah,
much
100%.
that like maybe her name should have been a fuck. Maybe her name was fucking bitch. I have no idea, but like holy shit.
So they restrain him finally, they sedate him, and then the guy's like, just get rid of him. So they just like dump him. They just dump him in a cab.
They throw him in that shitty cab.
And let's talk about that now, because that was the creepiest fucking animatronic I had ever seen in my entire life. Johnny
What was your
Cab.
focus?
What?
That was the focus. Mine was when did cars turn into golf carts that everyone drove?
Oh yeah, they were all tiny and
We had SUVs, we had friggin' trucks, and all of a sudden I'm like, so this is the future, and they upgraded the golf carts.
The cars were kind of shitty, but you know what though? Maybe they couldn't get the production to Mars because like shit was kind of fucked up.
but this was
You know,
still on Earth.
No. Was it on Earth?
Yeah,
Yeah, he wasn't in
he
Mars.
was still on Earth when he got.
Oh,
put
you're right.
under.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You know, maybe it's the whole self-driving thing, but once again, we're very close to that now. We're very close to the self-driving car.
And we have those little tiny smart cars that fucking.
It was an Uber. It was an Uber, man. There's your Uber.
So he's just like this Johnny Cab, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Johnny Cab," and it's like, "Wait, what?" And he's got this fucking weird, like, lazy town face on. So
I think everyone who listens to this needs to take a shot every time you do a voice.
and everybody would always be drunk.
Go on.
So he gets out of the Johnny Cab. He wakes up and he gets out of the Johnny Cab, and then he goes tries to go back to his house, and then Fat Fuck Larry and his friends come, and they start assaulting him, and he kills all of them.
Okay, question. So those guys are the secret agents. How the fuck did that guy, Joey Tribbiani's dad, get the fucking pinpoint man on taking down Arnold? That guy literally, how is that guy the muscle and the brains of that operation?
Yeah, I mean they were clearly much better men around him.
Literally, there's all four of them that literally drag Arnold with no problem. But yes, let's let the guy who's like doesn't have an ounce of fucking muscle. Yeah, that's the guy we're backing.
Here's what Will's gonna do.
And then that leads to the other point. So that guy was working construction for 8 weeks because they said that he was gone for like 8 weeks that she was tracking. So what a shitty assignment that guy was like, I have to be a construction worker for 8 fucking weeks.
Well, I'd want to kill Arnold too.
There's no problem operating the construction site tools. I couldn't fucking do that, yet this guy can. It's like this guy maybe is a fucking genius, but I don't know, man. I'm overthinking.
So he gets home, he finds Sharon Stone, and he realizes his life is a lie. She's just fucking she's in on it. She's not really his wife. And he's already been implanted with a memory. That's why everything is all fucked up. So she
cuts him, mind you, she cuts him, and that never affects him through the rest of the movie.
Through the rest of the film, nothing. like he just gets sliced across the chest and belly, and it's
And the arm.
well that too, yeah. But well, I would
Dude, she
I would
cut
just
him
think,
up.
I would think the front of the body would just be so much more painful and nagging for the rest of the movie than the arm. Right?
Nothing.
But
Right.
holy shit.
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
She just cuts him. And he's just like, yeah, whatever. Oh, and she kicks him in the
I'm
nuts
good.
like 3 times.
Oh my God, dude, this guy has balls of steel. Dude, he got kicked in the nuts so many times. Like, I don't know how he's like walking upright. Like, it's ridiculous.
Everyone
Like,
grabs his fucking dick in the movie.
It's because of his sex addiction. You have to touch my dick.
I'm telling you, man, it's all comes full circle. And by the way, that same scene before it, as she's, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like in that same scene, she's just like, oh, hey, do you want to do it one more time for old time's sake? And she ties herself up. And I'm like, this is their fucking life?
Well, no, it's not, because that was her thing. She ties herself up, and he was like, you've never done that before. And she's like,
yeah, then he's like, people are coming.
So
Oh, Michael Ironside.
yeah, which it's so funny because I feel like this guy has a whole backstory of his own. Like, you know how normally like you have the main bad guy, and then you have like his fucking apprentice, and then you have
It's number one.
Yeah, and then you have all the little fucking like foot soldiers. And you don't really give a fuck about the apprentice guy. He's just like annoying, and you just like, you can't wait for him just to kill him just so he stops fucking shit up. And the whole time I'm like, this guy has so many more layers to him. And like the way that, and I didn't want to get into this until later, but the way that the main guy, and I'm blanking on his name, treat Michael Ironside, like I wanted him to turn on him and be like, you know what, go fuck yourself, and like shoot him. But
I agree with you. I was gonna wait a little bit to give you my Michael Ironside thing, so I'll wait. We'll come back to this on the thing.
So, all right. Okay, so so now he's running away from the people that are trying to kill him. All right. And he uses this one guy as a human shield, not once, not twice. This guy is ground beef by the time he's done with him.
That guy
was
filled with holes. I saw that shit. I saw that shit too. I was like, what the fuck, man?
Watching this movie, the special effects that they had, it was like watching a trauma film. The people that made fucking Toxic Avenger, it was like watching one of their films. Like, it was like blood and guts and heads exploding. And I was like, now I've seen sci-fi movies and whatever, and the special effects, the money that goes into special effects are usually put elsewhere, not into these practical body explosions and whatever. And I was just like, the amount of money that they must have put into these like exploding heads and like arms getting ripped off and whatever. I was like, this is so like way out there, like, and this was like a serious action film, and the special effects are so ridiculous.
The one thing that I really wanted to say on this show is the body count was so high. Like the body count of everybody just getting eliminated was so high, it was ridiculous. It was like fucking stormtroopers in Star Wars getting just fucking blown away because they had helmets on. It mowed down. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. I'm like all this is going on, and people are just dropping left and right. It was ridiculous.
And then it's like I feel bad for that one guy because all he was doing was going to work.
Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
Arnold just showed up behind him, and it was like, damn, okay, that poor fucking guy. Because how does the call happen afterwards? Well, did he make it? Well, not really. Can I see him? Ooh,
You might not
we're
want
gonna need
to.
we're gonna need about an hour before you can.
So he escapes those guys and he gets back into a Johnny Cab, the creepy fucking Johnny Cab puppet guy. And
No, we got on a train.
no, he gets in the Johnny Cab first.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So he gets in the Johnny
You're right.
Cab.
You're right.
And they shoot the shit out of the Johnny Cab and it like explodes and he's inside of it like as it's like blowing up and the Johnny Cab driver guy pops off of his he rips him off because he's telling him just fucking drive and he's like can you explain what you want he's like fucking drive.
What is the address you want to go to?
So he just rips him off the thing and throws him in the back seat and takes the stick and just jams it and starts flying.
Okay, wait a minute. Why does it need a stick if it's driven by a robot that doesn't have arms?
Exactly.
Once again, so true.
Plot holes du jour. So he tosses this thing in the back seat and starts like flipping out and like sparking and just like saying random shit. And I remember one of the things that he says, he goes, fasten your seatbelts. And I was like, I was thrown back into 1990 because I was like, that was in the trailer. Like it was always the thing. He goes, fasten your seatbelts. And I remember the trailer. I was like, oh my God, that thing is so creepy. And it was like getting you excited for the film because you didn't know what this bullshit movie was about. And you're like, oh, he's telling you to buckle up because it's going to be a great fucking film. And I was like, I can't wait. And woof. All right. So yeah, he gets there, creepy Johnny Cab. And then I'm a little hazy on what happens after that. Plus, I have to freshen up my drink. So you two talk amongst yourselves.
He goes to the hotel. So he goes to a hotel room, and as he's in the hotel room, the fucking spy guy shows up, and he's like, "Oh, hey, take this towel and put it on your head. You're getting followed." And he's like, "Oh," and proceeds to wrap a towel like I've never fucking seen another human being wrap a towel. And he's like, oh, and he's just like, and mind you, like he's being hunted. His wife just betrayed him. This guy's stalking him. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, just trust me. And he goes and says, I'm going to leave this briefcase for you downstairs. So just leave it here and I'll go get it. And he runs down there, which he's got a top floor. So he's got to take about 25 minutes. And that briefcase just stays there. I'll let that one slide because I'm not going to use logic on that one.
Right until he's about to pick it up. Someone's about to pick it up. You know?
This old lady comes and takes it.
Yeah.
And again,
like, oh, it's mine, it's mine.
Right. But from the woman's point of view, again, she just sees a briefcase and she's like, oh, okay. And then this guy with a turban comes and rips the case off and goes, no, and blatantly steals it from her. And she's like, fuck you. And everybody laughs. And what does Arnold do? He takes a bow. And it's like, oh, damn. Okay, that's fucked up.
With a towel around his head. Weird. Like totally.
And going to what Kevin said.
The most ridiculous looking fucking towel wrap I have ever seen in my life. Like, he says, put this towel around your head.
It was like,
why does he wrap it like a turban?
But like the thing that kills me is and going back to what Kevin said, like Ironside, Michael Ironside.
Hold on, you're back to fucking your tracheotomy.
Okay.
All right, now
you're good.
So Michael Ironside is is like best friend coworker, and his best friend, he gets to the car, and his best friend is just like, yeah, I'd be mad too if that guy was fucking my girl. And he's like, do you think she enjoyed it? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what a shitty friend just said, yeah, dude, your girl is getting fucked by that guy.
By Arnold? You know what he does, right?
Yeah, I'm sure that Sharon Stone would much rather fuck a balding guy with a weird eye that can't fucking run as opposed to fucking the chiseled god of Arnold. Yeah, I'm sure she'll fucking not enjoying it. I felt so bad for Michael Ironside, that whole movie. Anyway.
I want a movie about him.
He's terrible at his job. Like, he doesn't do anything. They never define what his job description is. I feel so bad for that man.
It's so true.
So like this guy shows up, loses Arnold not once, not twice, but 3 fucking times. Can't identify him and a rat. I'd like to point that one out. His girlfriend is getting fucked by Arnold, which, by the way, how does that conversation even come up? Like, how do you go to your wife or your girlfriend, we don't know, and go, listen, babe, need a favor. Need you to do a solid for me if you would.
That guy over there.
Fucking guy.
See that guy over there? Look, I know he's hideous, but
I need you to fuck him for 8 weeks. Go to Saturn if you have to. I don't care. It's on my dime.
Whatever you do, keep him off of Mars.
That conversation go over well. Like, that's anyway. So anyway, he crashes the golf cart and he's in the friggin' abandoned construction site. Oh,
so this is where the most disturbing part of the film takes place for me.
I know exactly what you're about to tell me. The fucking
so he goes
snot that
he starts talking to himself, and he's like, so you have to remove the fucking tracker or whatever. And he's like, here, take this really gigantic object and just jam it up your nose. And he's like, okay. I'm like, wait, what? I'm going to listen to some weird version of myself telling me to jam this monstrosity up my nose, and it has like a little claw on the end of it. And I'm like, no, that's definitely just not happening.
There's another term for it. It's called brain surgery. You're doing brain surgery on yourself. I just got a COVID test, and I would rather not know than have to go through that. God.
And you think I'm gonna stick that thing up my nose?
I get scared using a stapler at times, and I'm gonna fucking do brain surgery on myself. Oh my God.
So he jammed.
But you know what? The guy can he can tie a towel around his head. So like, what the fuck do I know?
Like nobody.
But they justified it, saying it'll find itself. You know, they're like, yeah, it'll latch onto it. You know, it'll be fine. You know, they're like trying to justify it. I'm like, fuck that, man. I'm so like, I wouldn't do that shit.
Jams this thing up his nose, and all of a sudden you hear, there's a lot of that in this film. And you start to see the bridge of his nose bubble out, which again, more of this fucking ridiculous special effects. And he pulls this fucking golf ball out of his nose. Like
his nose doesn't even look phased. His nose doesn't even look phased by it, by the way. No blood coming out of it. None. No blood.
Here's the weird thing. No blood on the little ball thing, but when he unscrews it, the thing that's inside has blood on it. How the fuck does that work?
I didn't realize that.
I didn't think about that one either.
The little like light bulb thing inside, that had blood on it, but the red fucking bouncy ball part didn't. I don't.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
And then he's listening to himself going, "Get your ass to Mars," and then he finds the hologram,
Oh yeah, the hologram watch.
which I thought, I was like, all right, that was pretty cool. I would, knowing me, because of what my ADD, I would have been playing with that hologram thing for at least 20 to 30 minutes.
That would have
I
been
would
the,
be like,
that would have been the next 48 minutes of the film if it was me.
yes. I would have been shot dead by Michael Ironside and justified. By the way, Michael Ironside wanting to kill Arnold, totally justified in every aspect whatsoever. I think like that gets washed over. I mean, the guy literally is fucking his wife, and he's making him look stupid at his job. Okay. I just feel bad for him. That's all.
Yeah. I wrote down 2 weeks. I forget what that means.
It took him 2 weeks to get to Mars.
Oh, is that what it was?
Well, yeah, if he's going from Earth to Mars, I'm assuming it's not like a 24-hour layover.
I don't know.
It's not like he's going to Los Angeles.
And I said the special effects for the time was pretty cool. Like they're
Yes.
they're really weird ideas for special effects, but whatever. So then I start talking about Michael Ironside. I said, bad guy, not happy with his boss, treats him like shit.
Oh my God, I feel so bad for him. He's so like the victim here.
He's like, I don't pay you enough to think. He goes, I don't give you enough information to think. I was like, ooh, god damn.
Nobody respects him. Like his boss hates him.
Even
he doesn't even have a title.
Even the guy that's under him treats him like he's a moron.
Yes.
When he goes to shoot Arnold later on, he's like, don't do that. It's got to destroy the thing and everything's going to suck us out the window. I was like, oh my God, this guy can't catch a break.
If you really think about this, it, he only does one thing right in the whole fucking movie. Like he oh God, he's just so bad at his job. He can't shoot Arnold when he's like 10 foot away in a golf cart with a fucking machine gun. So I don't know how the hell he's in charge of, I'm guessing, security. Like, oh my God. But like now we're in the airport, right? And he's the fucking fat lady.
Yes, he is the fat lady. Yes.
Okay, this is my next problem, because this is the other thing I remember about the movie is she comes in and they're walking by and she's dressed and the guy really looks at her and is like, oh, okay, well, we know this is Arnold, and he's giving that creepy smile. And he's like, how long are you staying for? She goes, 2 weeks.
Oh, that's
and he's just like, oh, you're here for business, right? And she keeps going like business or pleasure, and he's just like 2 weeks, 2 weeks, two. So obviously this thing can only say 2 weeks, right? So how the fuck in like 2 minutes later he throws the mask and the mask is able to say, get ready for a surprise?
Yeah.
So clearly it's fucking another fucking thing. Which who fucking made that mask? And where did he get it? Did he get it on the fucking spaceship? Because it wasn't in the briefcase. And where did he draw the straw that is like, well, I guess I'm going as a fat old woman that's bald, by the way.
Bald? Oh my God. But the way the mask came off, that was my note. The way the mask came off with like in layers, that was pretty cool. That was something you had never seen before. You would always see like the mask like peel off the face or whatever. But this was like interlocked and like mechanical. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a first step of what, like, future. It was like a legit future thing, instead of just a
and that's
like a whatever.
That's one of the things that stood out to me from this movie, like remembering it from like all the way back in 1990, because again, it was the only time I watched it because this movie was fucking terrible.
Right.
So it's one of the things that stands out. And like I remember that scene. I remember, of course, the 3 titty scene. I remember, of course, the Sharon Stone scene. I see a pattern here. I remember the Mars like face explosion thing. So like those things like stick out to me. I didn't even remember the weird ass Johnny Cab until it happened. That's when I remember it. But it wasn't one of those things that stuck with me. But those did.
Dude, I'm so laughing about the fucking 3 titty thing because it's like I didn't know what movie that was in, and then when I saw it today, I was like, "Oh, fucking 3 titties!" You know, I was like, "Oh, there they are."
I remember watching that as a kid, going, "That is the greatest thing ever."
Oh
Is
my
that
God.
real?
Yep.
Oh my God! Can I see that?
Can that
And
happen?
I watched it the other day, and I was like, "Oh no! Oh, okay."
That's fucking funny.
And then I had to do a lot of self-reflection on myself.
He goes, as a kid, it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh my God, it was awesome. But now,
I was like, "Really?"
like think about it. Like if we were women, all right. Think about. Do you think women would actually want a guy with like 2 or 3 dicks just swinging in the wind? I think they'd be grossed the fuck out. They're like tentacles.
I don't even know how to field that question, Kevin, on so many levels.
No, but I'm saying like that's why now we don't think it's like we don't think the third tit is as fantastic.
Well,
as tantalizing.
Okay, so this is my question. So because like he goes to the hotel and gets this sex flyer, shocking.
Yeah.
And he's got to go see Melanie.
Melina.
So you're gonna see where I'm going with this in a second. So he gets in the weird guy who's got 5 kids. I got 5 kids.
I got 5 kids to feed.
He gets in him and he drives from this expensive hotel that's like not even a minute drive, and they're in the slums of a whorehouse, like everywhere. And I'm like, that was no commute. Why did you even take the taxi?
Didn't even have to get in the
You
car.
could have fucking walked.
Yeah.
So my question is this, because he starts bumping into people. Like, and I know this is going to be left field, but are aliens and mutants 2 totally different things?
Yes.
Because half the people are all mutants, and there's no aliens.
I think what happened was there were aliens, and I think they're all gone now. Because that's when they went in the catacombs and they came across the bones of the aliens. Because they kept talking about that, but then you never saw any.
Gotcha.
But you saw the mutants, and I think the mutants are like something like went wrong on Mars, so now people are mutants.
The mutants were a cause of a shitty insulation from the radiation that was coming from the sun due to a lack of atmosphere. So they didn't really have anything to do with the aliens, but like the aliens come later on when we talk about the generator or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that due to shoddy workmanship, these people are deformed for the rest of their lives, and they have one fucking person lawyered up and got a fucking settlement claim?
Oh.
No. Instead, they are sitting there whoring themselves out, and the one girl's just like, "Oh, I could tell." I can tell you your birthday. And he goes, "Can you?" He goes, "You're a Taurus." I go, "That's not telling you your birthday. That's just guessing a fucking sign." But I don't want to be the dick and yell at the little girl.
Here's $1. Tell me more.
And then, all right. And then he goes into the bar and he runs into Hank from Breaking Bad. And he's just like, "Oh," he goes, "Oh yeah, Melanie's here." And Melanie takes him upstairs, and the first thing she does is grab his dick, and I'm like, dude, I was like,
is that in his
Arnold's
contract?
Mind you, right before she goes in, the fucking little person hooker goes, let me know if you need help with that one. It's like,
Uh,
good God, man.
I call her Bridget the midget.
I can't with you.
And I could say that because she calls herself that.
Fair enough then.
That is her
Well,
title.
if that's the name of the character, you can't fault it.
Yes. So anyway, so here are my notes. I go 3 titties, amazing. That's the dream. And then I said 5 kids to feed. I know how you feel. So then he goes to escape once again from Mulaney, whatever, Melinda, I don't know, whatever her name is, and Melina, listen to me.
There it is.
So I said Bridget the midget with a machine gun. I was like, that is awesome. She hops up onto the bar and she's got this gigantic machine gun and she's just fucking shit up.
It's amazing.
And that's where I stopped taking notes. I just watched from there on in.
So the next part is Arnold is like asleep in a hotel room, wakes up, and somehow the dude shows up and says that he's hallucinating the whole thing. And I was like, oh, this is the key part of the whole movie. And I actually thought,
is the AI guy?
yes.
No, this guy is like, he's artificial intelligence, right? He's a virus put into the fucking matrix, right?
That's
what you're supposed to think. All right. So this guy comes in. He's.
I just looked. Yeah.
God.
I just was like, oh, that's Ted Mosley from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures dad. I was like, oh, I didn't know he was in it. Sorry.
So at that moment, he's saying, "This is not real. This is whatever. Take the pill, and like we'll be back to normal. Everything will be great." And then he saw him sweat.
Yeah, but he's
he's like,
he's ready to take the pill.
He had it in his mouth, and they're like, "Swallow it, swallow it, swallow it." And he's like,
"We're all ready to take the pill." I'm like, everybody you meet lies to you. Why would you put this pill in your mouth?
All he had to do was like, let me get you a cup of water, and then turn, get water, wipe the sweat, and this movie's fucking over.
They have that, like, he legit, like, was like, he sweat, and that was it. He got his fucking head blown off. Period.
So then Sharon Stone comes and she's like, yep, I got him. And Michael Ironside, which, by the way, now Sharon Stone is doing Michael Ironside's job for him. He's down in the fucking lobby, and she's like, "All right, you fucked this up enough. I'll go do it for you." Right? She goes up there with the guys, and then the next thing you know, Melina, whoever the sleazy athlete, goes in there and plows down like 3 of them, and then the next thing you know, she gets into a fight with Sharon Stone, and this was the other line that I remember. Right? I was like, Arnold wakes up and all of a sudden he's like, he pulls a gun. She's like, well, you're not going to shoot me. We're married. And then he puts a bullet in her head. I'll let you say the line, Kevin.
There's a divorce. And it's so funny because as I'm watching it, I'm like, it clicked in my head and I'm like, oh, here comes the line. And I said the line before he says it like a dick. And then he said it and I was like,
so they start to escape, and then Michael Ironside shows up. And this is the thing that kills me, is that the elevator's open, he walks in, he looks, he sees that Arnold's gone, his troops are dead, and he goes, oh, and he turns, goes back to the elevator where he just walked over the body of his dead girlfriend, meaning he didn't even notice she was fucking dead.
Yeah.
He walked in first and goes, oh, she's dead. which proves how shitty of a person he is because he doesn't observe the crime scene and doesn't realize, oh, if I was just a little bit good at my job, my fucking girlfriend wife would be alive right now, but I suck at this now.
So he realizes she's dead. Finally, he turns her little cheek over, and he sees the hole in her head, and he's like, "Oh shit, she's dead." And like he gets like the Rocky Balboa like vengeance look in his eye, and goes after
That's
Arnold.
a great. Yes.
Take it from there, because like I said, I've finished my notes at this point.
So going back to what you said, like they're climbing down the ladder, and his like henchman guy is sitting there like wants to shoot and he doesn't.
Oh, that's right. I'm sitting there and I'm like, why is he not? I'm like, why is he not shooting? I'm like, is he turning heel? Like, is he like gonna be a good guy? Like, what the fuck is this?
And then Ironside shows up and he's like, oh, you can't shoot because it's the you'll open up the windows. And he's like, oh. So they chase him down. They do this weird little chase scene, and they go back to the sex bar. And miraculously, this one guy who's there to help them, they open up a door and they go running into a tunnel and they lock everything up. And Michael Ironside shows up and he's like, all right, where are they? And they're like, where's who? And out of nowhere, he just shoots the three-titted woman. And I was like, well, this movie now took a fucking turn because he's like, kill them all. And then a massacre proceeds to happen with armed and like body armor soldiers versus fucking mutant hookers that don't have any weapons.
Well,
And the fucking midget stabs the one fucking guy, and Michael Ironside's like, you know what? My bad. Fall back. And he goes, I wasn't prepared for the horrors. So let's get the fuck out of here. And then it cuts to back to, and then Brian Cox, who's like the main guy, is just like, no, leave it. They're just like, no, leave it.
Hold on.
Wait.
You went tracheotomy again.
All right, go ahead, go.
Well, so they're in the tunnel, and Brian Cox, the fucking police commissioner from Beverly Hills Cop, he's like, we got a plan here. You're good. And he's like, all right. And Arnold goes in. They're walking in the tunnel with him and the guy who's got 5 kids, and they see the bones, and she's like, yeah, these are the aliens. And he's like, oh, and she goes, and he said, and then all of a sudden she said something like, well, I didn't know you loved me. He goes, well, I could prove it to you. And then proceeds to start to make a move with her in front of dead corpses of aliens with the fucking weird guy that has a fucked up hand that turns into a fucking mutant. And I'm like, well, this movie is now going off the rails. I was like, this movie's now lost sense.
I was like,
it doesn't get back to normal.
He just whips out this weird ass arm out of nowhere. Like he's been hiding this the whole time.
He's like, I'm one of them. He goes, I'm one of them. And I'm like, all right, whatever, man. It's like, all right.
So then this is the part that kills me, right? Because this is where I got confused. So he's like, all right, go talk to, I think his name is what, Quano or whatever?
Quado. Oh my God, Quado or Quado. Oh my God.
Yeah, and he's like, all right, go talk. And the guy is like, all right, he goes, give me a second. Where I guess he like has to like belch the fucking mutant out of him.
Yes, that's what happened.
He turns around, and then this creature, whom I don't get, like, is the creature.
He's the boy.
Like the voice of. Okay, I can't even go on how ludicrous that is. Like, because all he tells Arnold to do, and by the way, Arnold is not fazed at all that a creature just came out of a man's stomach, and now he's talking to the creature, and he's just like, oh, like Arnold doesn't blink at all. And he's like, no, this makes sense.
At anything.
He's like, no.
He doesn't blink at the fact that there's memories implanted in his mind. He doesn't blink at the fact that he's 2 different people. He doesn't blink at the fact that he used to be on Mars. He didn't blink at the fact that his wife isn't fucking who she's supposed to be. None of this.
But by by far, that is the fucking craziest shit they did. Like of all the things you should blink at, like that is it. Like that is, I'd be like, whoa. Like I'd be like, oh my god. I'm like, I'm like, I get the radiation, I get your melted faces, I feel bad for you, I'm sorry. You know, like shitty insulation. I mean, I'm sorry, but that, like you had like a guy
Living.
like coming out of your torso, like you're like a person, and then there's like a guy, like coming out of your torso, and like day to day, like what the fuck do you do?
And
You
like,
feed him?
it seems like when Watto is out, the other guy is like sleeping. His head was back. He's like,
Which, by the way, the only live reaction that Arnold has in the whole movie, and again, it goes back to my theory, is when the three-titted woman shows herself and he smiles, he goes, I'm good. That's like, that's what gets you. It's the only thing that got him to fucking blink.
But you know what? I think you're right. But Jesus Christ, that Guado shit was fucked up, man. Like, I'm sorry, man. That's the one thing I was like, whoa. I couldn't, like, I have no idea. Anyway, go on.
So then, out of nowhere, the friggin' drills come out of nowhere, which I'm like, nobody heard these gigantic tanks coming out of nowhere and fucking drilled into the closed room. And then they run out, and and they go into this little tunnel where the fucking guy who's got 4 kids now, he gets busted.
He's like, you got me.
Ends up shooting the guy. And then Michael Ironside comes in and just sheer dick move goes, you know what? Fuck it. I'll kill the innocent puppet that's in the guy's stomach, because you know what? That could come back to bite me. He's got Arnold, who just who killed his wife. He's been fucking her for 8 weeks. Been fucking her for 8 weeks. He's fucking getting him fucked up at job.
Hold on, Narg.
One more time.
Okay, can you hear me?
Killed his wife.
Right? He kills his fucking wife, fucks him up at the job. He is shown to be an idiot, but I'm going to go kill the fucking puppet that is just popping out of a guy's stomach, because you know what? That's going to come back.
That's the one.
That's the one. I could kill all 3 of these and end the fucking job right now, and I'll be a fucking hero, but I'll kill the fucking puppet. Oh my God. Then they go back to Beverly Hills Cop's office, and they fucking sit there, and he goes, well, I got one little surprise for you. And Arnold shows up and goes, yeah, I need you to be a buddy, pal, and
give me my body back.
Yeah. Give me my body back. And Arnold's like, no.
Like, glad you didn't die. Thanks for not dying on me.
And at that moment, I'm sitting there going, like, Michael Ironside has truly almost fucked this up, because he tried to kill Arnold like countless times, going back to the man in the escalator. Because then I'm sitting there saying, like, those are real bullets. Like, that guy got mowed down with fucking bullets. Michael Ironside is clearly trying to kill him. So this whole plan would have been fucked up, again proving that Michael Ironside is terrible at his job and he has no idea what the fuck he's doing.
Well, maybe it's like the main guy, fucking Beverly Hills Cop guy. It's like he knows how bad Michael Ironside is, so he's like, "You go take care of this one, because I know he'll never fucking kill him." It's like in Goonies when they give Chunk the fucking picture frame, because they know he'll drop it in 5 seconds.
That is literally the best example you could have come up with. That is the best example. That literally hit the nail right on the head, because he's like, he's gonna fuck this up. So
Arnold's in good hands.
Yep, that's the head of my security. I know he's got this covered. All right. By the way, so my other question is, what is actually Arnold's job at the company? Thank you. You proved my point.
I was like, I was like, I don't know.
Because they're sitting there and he's in the. I was like, they're clearly friends. Clearly, he has
Yeah.
money to just give him. It must be a high position. And I was like, so why did they grab Arnold this whole time?
And
Like,
he
why
knows
did Arnold?
he knows Michael Ironside. Like they had some sort
Yes.
of a weird ass relationship too before.
So does that mean that like when they hashed this whole thing out, Arnold sat down and goes, all right, hear me out, Mike. I'm gonna need your girlfriend for a couple weeks. Let me explain. I'm probably gonna be fucking her. We gotta act like we're married. Don't worry, I am not gonna remember it. She will. I won't. And then the boss,
Believe me,
and then
she
the
will.
boss turns around. Again, going back to your point, Kevin, fucking Beverly Hills Cop guy goes, I love this idea. Let's fucking do it. Fucking get her on board, Mike. Like, this is a great idea. Like,
Well,
this is, I don't understand the plan.
Didn't they try to reset his mind back to what originally was, and he broke out of it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I don't understand. But my whole thing was, like, what was the purpose of this whole mission? Because Arnold was like, you've
There
got
was no
thoughts in your head that I need to erase now. So it's like, well, okay, why didn't you just erase this instead of putting all these people's lives at risk?
You're right. You're right. Now that goes to the end of the movie. Was this? Are we done? Because this what you're asking. What you're asking is the end of the movie.
So let's bring us to the end.
Well, yeah, because so basically what happens is they're like, yeah, there's this switch that the aliens make that if you press it, we're all good. Beverly Hills Cop guys goes, we're not Beverly Hills. And Arnold goes, yeah, we are. Just go step outside for a second. And he goes sucked outside. They press the button. Now everybody's got air. And apparently she's standing on a mountain with him. And he goes, oh my God, it's so beautiful, almost like a dream. And she goes, well, kiss me before we wake up. And then it goes to white.
Yes.
And then the movie's over.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is one of our first movies up into interpretation. Is this a dream? Is this a fake reality? Is this something that like they altered? Is this something, like what is this? That's the biggest question. And that's what I felt leaving the movie or watching it. It's like, well, the ending is what we wanted, but is it is it real?
You're right. The ending is what I wanted. I wanted this fucking movie to end.
No, but what I'm saying, but what I'm saying
Kevin,
is though,
what is your theory? What is your theory though, Kev? What is your theory on it?
My theory is that it wasn't a dream. All this shit's real because the writing was so terrible that it couldn't possibly be smart enough to make this a dream.
John, what's your thoughts?
I think it's some sort of loop. I think there's a loop, and I think like at some point, some of it's real, and then some of it got like crossed, and I think it's like almost like a constant loop that's gonna keep going until like it may not ever end.
Nargi, to you?
So I think it's a dream just for the sheer notion that nothing makes fucking sense in the entire fucking dream. That I'm like, yep, sure. Why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? Why not let Michael Ironside get his arms ripped off because he's hanging on an elevator? Like, that's the other thing that we sidestepped. But like, and I'm gonna have an alien come out of somebody's fucking stomach. Like, nothing made sense in that whole movie. So I was like, this has got to be a dream.
Very possible. Anything's possible with this ridiculous.
So my other question that I wanted to ask John, because Kevin touched a little bit on it and I did too. John, what do you remember when this movie first came out?
Very little. I don't remember much because honestly I remember the scene where they're gasping for air on Mars. That's all I remember. Whether it was beginning
Well, this was
or
the movie that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
no, that's all I remember is the air gasping scene. Other than that, I had zero recollection of what we watched back in the day.
Well, this was the movie that literally like put him in like untouchable zone like this because like I said, he had a couple of hits, and this is the movie that really like was like, yep, this is where Arnold is Arnold now, and that's how he became like first name basis. So I guess the number one question that needed to be asked was, did this movie hold up?
No, it was
I know.
terrible then.
Oh my god, the
How
curve.
old-
Did
How old were we in 1990? 13?
Oh shit! I
13.
didn't know there would be math, but
13. My 13-year-old mind knew that this was a terrible movie. My 13-year-old mind said, don't ever watch this fucking movie again unless you get a podcast with the two friends of yours.
oh, because mine's like, I'm never gonna watch this shit again.
Yeah, it's not a movie where I'm like, I want to watch it again. It's not. It really wasn't. It was like, wow, oh wow, this is so good. I'm gonna watch it again. It wasn't good.
I think I'm done with this film. I think if I go the rest of my life without watching this film again, I'm okay with that. If I go the rest of my life with never seeing a scene from this film again, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't ever need to see this movie again. I'm perfectly fine with it.
Now let's think back to the 90s. Was this considered a blockbuster / really good movie?
Yes.
Because it was. It really was. I remember
Yeah.
the hype. There was a big hype around this movie.
It was the special effects
Yep.
that really like that was like before its time. Arnold was like on the cusp of being amazing and this great action star. And this is the one because I think like right after this one, he did Terminator 2, and then it just kept going from that standpoint. So he like
Terminator
he
2
just
made
kept
him
going.
absolutely untouchable.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. He followed this movie up with Kindergarten Cop. Then he did Terminator 2. My bad. That was on me.
But he already did Terminator 1, and people got to work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I mean, Terminator 2, I've seen bits and pieces of it. I've never watched it. I'm going to be honest. I've never watched it. And that was like, I remember I was in 8th grade, and that was like people were raving, going nuts over this movie.
People lost their minds over that film.
Because of the special effects.
Well,
Terminator 2, Terminator 2 does hold up.
The action, the story, everything about it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie still holds up to this day. And, you know, you take a look at some things that, like, really, like, Arnold just went on a fucking tear at that point.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, yeah, well, you know. And then it started getting into the discussion, well, are you a Stallone? Are you Schwarzenegger? Willis, get away. But, like, are you one of those two? And it was like, who was your guy at that point? Because those two were going back and forth.
Yeah, true.
Willis had his hands full with Tarantino movies.
Oh, don't get me started on that subject.
That could be for another time.
Oh, perhaps the next time.
I like.
All right. So I guess none of us would recommend this film to anybody else.
No, I'm not. Honestly, I'm not going to say I wouldn't recommend it. I would watch it. But I wouldn't say like don't watch it because like it doesn't hold up the time, but it's still it's not shitty. It for our standards, we would consider it shitty because it's fucking 21. But back in 1990, this fucking movie was a good movie.
This might be a film that I would sit somebody down and be like, you gotta watch this because blah 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 blah, because this derives from this and this paved the way for this or whatever.
But this could also be one of a movie that where like, well, the ending is your interpretation. Like how do you want the movie to end? Is it real? Is it not? Is this a fake? Is it like is it real? And so that's the big thing and I think that's why a lot of movies like a movie like this is kind of like up in the air where it's like I think people want an ending. I really do. I really think people want an ending. And I don't think you got it with this one.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's one of those things. I think it'd be a situation like we did where you remember it from your childhood and you're like, wow, I have not seen that in so long. I was just like, dude, remember when we watched that? Yeah, let's throw it on and watch it one time for old time's sake and watch and be like, oh yeah, I don't remember it being this bad.
It's funny. I remember not liking it, but I don't remember it being that bad.
Well, I will say this about the movie, and I think you both would agree. It's definitely an experience.
Yes.
It wasn't good.
And
I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't good. But like I do think there's like it might be, I don't know, like it might be one of the first of the open interpretation of the endings. Or if that was in style at the time, I'm not sure. I'm not a movie guy, but I'm not sure when those movies got into style of how you interpret the ending. You know what I mean? But that was definitely one of them.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this shit up. All right. So you have been listening to John and Kevin's Big Stupid Podcast. We were going over and reviewing Total Recall, 1990 Arnold Schwarzenegger, Michael Ironside film.
Damn right.
We should get
give him some credit.
We should get a prequel film about Michael Ironside's character and what he's about.
Oh.
And it should end when he like meets Arnold.
Are we writing this down?
Or when Arnold walks up to him and goes, "Excuse me, let me tell you something. I'm going to fuck your wife for 8 weeks."
Or he just walks up and goes, "Dude, your wife's hot. Are you guys serious?"
So this was a movie review. Let us know if you enjoyed this movie review. Let us know on Instagram. Let us know on Facebook. Let us know on Twitter. Email us. Give us a call at the Big Stupid hotline. And the Big Stupid hotline is 201-338-0098. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Big Stupid Podcast. And on Twitter, it is Big Stupid Podcast. But on Twitter, there is no I in stupid. Once again, we'd like to thank Nargi for showing up and getting our balls back and having them punched by Sharon Stone sometimes.
Hey, man. I'm here for your balls' pleasure.
So should I just end the show?
Well, what is it you want to do?
Well, I'm just saying because like,
are you gonna sing for us?
Well, I'm just saying because last week we recorded on John's birthday, and at the end I had like a whole bunch of people come on, and like wish him a happy birthday
Mhm.
and stuff. So I just didn't know if I should end the Zoom because today is my birthday, and I
Yes.
just thought John might have something up his sleeve.
I figured it'd be very. I figured it'd be very cliche to do the same thing again.
Oh, is that what? You know what? You're right.
Wow, way to fucking throw me under the bus, you dickhead. All day, he didn't fucking wish me a happy birthday. And I was like, oh, all you gotta do is fucking text it, man. Just text it. Just text it. And he fucking threw me. You know what? I really appreciated that. I really did. I needed that. Like I didn't think.
Hold on.
honestly,
God damn it!
Threw yourself a birthday
I
party.
just got a report from my wife.
Uh-oh.
George Siegel has passed away.
Who's that?
He was
Oh,
he was
really?
Mikey's dad in Look Who's Talking. He was
He was in The Cable Guy. He
was
was
in-
Matthew Broderick's dad.
he was Just Shoot Me, and most recently he was Pops on the Goldbergs. Oh, this is fucking rough. This is bad. God damn it.
Oh.
Well, I hate to end our fucking show on this, but breaking news, man. I had to cut in with it. My wife likes to depress me on my birthday.
I guess so. Hey.
So
So
yeah, I guess
So
John,
that 3-titted alien.
John, you got anything else you want to say?
have fun, everybody.
Have fun?
Oh, happy birthday, Kev.
Oh, thank you, Narg. A true friend.
Jesus,
Oh,
for the love of God.
Have fun.
Have fun.
You've been listening to the Big Stupid Podcast, presented in part by Anchor. Interested in becoming a podcaster like us? Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast all in one place for free. Check out Anchor.fm today. Our theme music is licensed from BKFM Music Production through Audio Jungle. Visit AudioJungle.com for all your royalty-free music and sound needs. Further promotional considerations provided by Powerbar. Guests of the Big Stupid Podcast receive no compensation for their time, opinions, or any half-baked theories. If you think you can handle being part of the show, visit our social media sites and message us, or email John and Kevin at bigstupidpodcast@gmail.com. Not good enough for you? Okay, Mr. Big Boy Pants, you can call 201-338-0098 and leave us a message, and maybe we'll play it back on our next episode. Participants waive all rights to anything resembling coherence and or common sense. The Big Stupid Podcast is a production of Party Boss Productions Unlimited. No portion of this podcast may be repodcasted or otherwise transmitted in whole or part without the expressed written consent of Jen. It's on you to figure out which one. Good luck and have fun.